Sierra and Julia, and then I'll do the emergency preparedness work group and the healthcare work group and the spill working group, and then we'll do the public comment, and then we'll be on our way.
And the only thing we need on Julia and Sierra is a second and then a vote, right?
Yep, because they're both spill committee members, so they can make a proposal.
Okay. I had to take pictures of the agenda because my computer
Sure,
would not allow me to have two screens anymore.
that's frustrating.
I got a new laptop and it only allows me to mirror the little bitty laptop on my big screen.
Okay.
And I did have one other question
Yeah.
on when we talk about the new meetings, the new emergency preparedness work group and the new healthcare work group, and then the
Yep.
writing work group. Did you want to talk about those and I'll talk about the spill or
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
And we're talking about starting these in January, correct?
Yeah. I think all those work groups first meeting sometime in January. Yep.
Okay. Just making sure I slept since then.
Yep.
Are you having to promote people?
No, just Chris. Hey, Ann. Hey, Haley. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I have 1:55 on my clock, so we'll get started right about 2. Hi, Luis. I see you in the attendee list, and so I'm going to promote you to a panelist.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through just fine,
Okay.
Luis.
All right. Sorry about all of that.
No problem.
I guess when as a panelist, I have to enter my email address
Okay,
in order to be recognized. Unlike this morning
sure.
that I was just able to join.
Right,
It-
right. Because that was just a meeting that we had this morning, and this is a
okay.
webinar. So there's the two
Oh,
views for this one. For the webinar, you can be a panelist, which is for all of the spill committee members
right.
and the interpreters and CART. And then and then the public is attendees. But for a meeting, when it's just the small group, we're all the same. So we all
Like
use the same login.
like this morning then, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, why does it ask me for my email?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that I know the difference between being a panelist and not, it's like I have to allow myself to some time in order to be able to enter the email.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes that's why.
I'm glad you told me because I'm like, why does it happen again?
Right. Right. No, that's exactly why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is the only time that I actually get asked for my email address.
Sure.
It's when it's a webinar or as a panelist. I didn't know that because all the other Zoom calls that I get on, I just select the link and I'm in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I didn't know the difference. I was like, okay,
And
Yeah, that
one
makes
thing,
sense.
one thing I've found is even though the, um, the invite was sent to my work email because my, Zoom account is my home email. If I don't put in my home email, it won't let me in.
right, yeah, exactly.
Mm,
So that's the same thing because I'm using the iPad. That's where I have to do the .org,
Yeah.
okay.
right? And normally, if I'm on the phone, well, then that's my home. You know,
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
interesting. At least I'm not the only one then.
No.
I'm sure the weather out there is pretty mild considering.
Yeah, it's not bad for middle of November. It was 70 over the weekend, but it's still probably 55 or something, which,
Yeah, yeah, correct.
not too bad.
It's nice out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question.
Yes, I see from the interpreter about have we done this before? And then yes, we have. Yeah.
Hello,
Hey, good afternoon, Anna.
good afternoon. Did you see my email?
Yes.
Okay, this is what I thought I was prepared for, and apparently forgot to put the other one in my calendar.
Not a
So,
problem. I sent you the notes, so you should
thank
you
you.
should have those. Yeah, that's all right.
Mike, can I ask a quick question if you don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead, Luis.
Totally separate of this meeting, but is
Yeah,
is there a marketing committee meeting tomorrow?
yes, tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Okay, your time,
Yep,
3 o'clock your time, right? Or,
yep.
okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll send a reminder later today.
Okay, for sure.
We'll wait just a few more minutes for Linda. We have Linda, Janine, and Jared, and Julie. Mike, how long do you want to wait?
I have about 2:05. I think we can go ahead and start. I can cover Julia's piece if she doesn't join.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the Spill Committee meeting. Hope everyone's having as wonderful day as we are. First thing we're going to do is roll call. So when I say your name, then respond. Luis Roman,
Present.
Ann Barnhart,
Here.
Haley Brown, Janine Coleman Miller. Okay. Linda Greeno, Jared Quarles, Julia Shear, Sarah Olivia Thomas Williams,
I'm here.
and Anna Thompson Jones.
Here.
That should give us a quorum for the vote, shouldn't it, Mike?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. Please bear with me. My computers are not working the way I want them to. So for the good night, I apologize. For a statement of accessibility, ASL interpretation and CART live captioning are present for the committee meeting. If you have any additional accommodation requests, please email those to info@indianasilk.org and request those ahead of time, 2 business days in advance at minimum. And they can be made any time prior to that, but before that gives us a chance to make sure those accommodations are available. And let me get back to my agenda. Okay. All right, so we will start off with our old business. The first one is the ADA jail project. We are
Yes.
still, we're
Hey,
still
Chris, I'm sorry.
working.
Julie was in as an attendee, so I
Okay,
just promoted her, Julie Shear, as a panelist. So Julie, she's in
okay,
there as well.
awesome. Okay, so the first time in our old business is the ADA jail project, and I thank everyone who has done their part on this. However, we've got a lot of blank spaces left. We are closer to completion, so we are still moving forward on this, and it will remain on the old business list. And then the next item is the new spill dashboard, and that is Mike, so I will let Mike explain that.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And so we are still putting together a dashboard to track all of the deliverables on the spill. The committee should have that, and we will post that. But we're doing this as a way to kind of track everything that we're doing because we know there are a lot of deliverables, a lot of different pieces, a lot of different work groups, and we wanted to have that method of tracking and showing all of the progress that we're making. And then Chris is going to use this when she reports to the full council meetings at their public meetings, which our next one is going to be Wednesday, December the 10th. But we want to make sure that every time that this committee meets, that we have that and you guys get that tracker to kind of show that case, that progress. So that'll be a regular part of our agenda is making sure that you have that, even if it's not a discussion item, particularly like today, but we want to make sure that we have that tracker in place.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Mike. Then under our new business, we have a report on our guardianship work group. Is Julia ready? She's going to give us a recommendation based on the studies and the work we've done on that guardianship work group.
Yeah, and I see Julia in our on our panelist list, and it looks like you're muted, Julia.
Yes, now I'm good.
There you are. Yep, you're set, Julia. So go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry I'm late.
Not a
Um,
problem.
the guardianship work group met to recommend how Insilc could respond to the guardianship issue, and we heard from several experts, including Nick Parker, staff attorney at Adult Guardianship Office, Indiana Supreme Court, Office of Court Services. We heard from Tammy Thimel, CEO of Accessibility, Anna Thompson Jones, Program Director, Southern Indiana Center for Independent Living, and Sarah Walker, Southern Indiana Adult Guardianship Service. After hearing from these three experts, the work group considered whether or not to recommend that Insilc endorse the NCLI statement on guardianship. And after discussion, the work group decided not to recommend that Insilc endorse the NCIL statement on guardianship. The work group felt that the statement is too restrictive. So the work group recommends that the guardianship work group be disbanded, the current one, and a new work group is formed with a charge to develop a guardianship position statement in 2026. That's it.
And you endorse that?
I do, yes. Me and
Okay.
the other committee members, I think, I believe that that's what our
Okay.
consensus was.
Well, we're voting. We need a second.
Okay. I will second that.
Well, I think technically, I think you're making the recommendation, Julia.
Okay.
So we will need another committee member to second that recommendation. And again, that's to disband the guardianship work group and form a new work group to create that new position statement next year.
I second that. This is Ann.
Thanks, Ann.
Thanks, Ann. Okay, then let's vote. Have a vote. Um, Luis Roman, how do you vote?
In favor.
Okay. Ann Barnhart,
Yes.
Haley Brown,
In favor.
Julie says yes. Sierra Olivia Thomas Williams.
Um, I, I is I don't know a ton about this. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to be saying this, but I am curious about the decision, like the what you said about it being too restrictive as a statement. Um, and I don't know if that's for later. Um, so the vote that we are making is to disband the current group
Group
and to
and
write a different statement.
reinstate, yes.
Um, I think I feel like I want to know more about the reasoning behind it because I wasn't part of that work group.
Do you want me to respond?
Yeah, go ahead, Julia, if you can, or I can, if you'd prefer, it's up to you.
Um, well, Mike, maybe we could both do that.
Sure, yeah.
Sierra, I think
Yeah.
when people on the committee, after we heard from the experts I cited, the sickle statement was too much about, when we read it, we felt it was too much about no guardianship at all. And that was what 2/3 of it was about. And we felt that perhaps it would be better in Indiana to come up with a statement that talked more about what is possible, what options people have, and then maybe at the end, toward the end or something, say, you know, we feel that guardianship is more the last option, not the first, that's an option, but it should be the last option that's taken. There was discussion on all of
Yeah.
those topics.
But the NCIL statement does say that. I'm
Yes,
wondering,
This is Chris.
yeah,
Um, the thing that we didn't like was that one first sentence. And a
okay,
lot of people read that and they don't read any further because it's so negative.
right. And
And
it
it
says
doesn't,
NCIL opposes the use of guardianship for people with disabilities. That one,
right.
mhm,
And there's a lot of information, but you have to
right?
like read through all of that.
Yeah,
So we want to start out positive with the alternatives to guardianship and the reasons why they're better, and then say that
okay,
guardianship should only be used as a last resort. And we also feel
okay,
like there are some people who are getting older and have no family that want to set guardianships up. Somebody they trust and have that paperwork in place, but they felt like with that sentence, they were going against the IL philosophy, thinking that they might need a guardian later on because they don't have any family. But there are other
okay.
ways to do that. But that's why we wanted to kind of rewrite one for Indiana that gets to those more positive things first, and not jump out of the gate with that big negative stop.
This is Luis. Can I ask a question to that?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I kind of understand it, and somebody correct me, please, but isn't the opening kind of remark kind of contradictory as you read on to the statement, and it gives you like other options or what have you, and that's kind of contradictory the way it's being phrased? Isn't that kind of one of the issues?
With the nickel statement.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
because they do say that at the very beginning, and then they give you information, which is
Right.
helpful information. But then later on, they do say, something about guardianship, but then they go into the alternatives. We just want to flip it and give people the alternatives first, and then let them read through that and find out about that, and then let them know that guardianship should be a very last resort, unless it's set up somehow by an individual with a disability who chooses to set that up. They should have the right. We're independent living. We should have a right to choose, for ourselves, instead of so many people that get to a position where they don't have any family and then they can't take care of themselves. Then they're really vulnerable.
This is Luis again. in my opinion, is kind of misleading of how they're phrasing it or wording it. You know, because on one hand, of course, informed decision making, and at the end of the day, it's if it's about us, why don't we have the right to make that decision? You know, regardless of what that is, because what I say may not, you all may not agree with personally, but it's my life, right?
Right.
You know, so it's one of those things at the end of the day, as long as I'm informed about the options, well, then whatever decision I make, good, bad, or indifferent, that's kind of the way it is, right? Because otherwise, we're trying to dictate, or that, you know, that the way it's being written or the way it's written is kind of, you know, misleading in a sense, because
Mhm.
it's all or nothing. Which one is it? You know?
And life's not all or nothing.
Right, correct. Too many in betweens. Correct.
But that's why we were talking about creating a new work group to try to give it a more positive feel for the alternatives first. So they see the alternatives first before they even get to guardianship.
Right.
Was kind of the philosophy behind it. So with all this, does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I think this is good. We had a couple questions in the Q&A about who we kind of had heard from, Chris. And so just to reiterate, we talked to Nick Parker too from the court system and some other folks. And part of the thought, I think you guys are having a great discussion. That a lot of it are the concerns in the work group is around kind of the wording and the messaging of part of it, and not so much the substance too, but a lot of just how it was worded and phrased and put together. And so as part of that, we might, I think, as a new work group moves on, we would probably even want to maybe talk to somebody from Nickel about kind of how they put it together and kind of thinking through that. Just, I think, and we all know how sensitive and important a topic that guardianship is. And I think the work group wanted to take really is asking, even in a new format. So Sierra, if this is something that you're passionate about, you and other folks could join the new work group. But I think the work group really wanted to take this extra year to make sure that the statement is as good as it could be, is phrased exactly the right way, just because we know it's an important topic and something that people care about, and we want to make sure that it's consistent in its messaging, kind of as Luis said, and it's easy to understand and track, because people are going to read the statement who are an expert in guardianship and know everything and have all the information. And so are people that are brand new, that are learning about guardianship for the first time. And it needs to be something that's workable and I think readable to, a whole variety of different kind of expertise levels and skill levels and familiarities and audiences and all of that. And I think the work group just really wants to make sure that I think we have the time to put together the best statement possible that kind of and this also would give us time to hear back from the public. And so that would be part of that year-long process too, is that as we develop a statement, we could share and showcase it at our town halls, put it on Facebook, send out a survey about it, all kinds of other methods to get public input. Again, so that way that we can make sure we're hearing from all of the right people and that we're putting together the most well-thought position statement we can.
Yep. Because it is an important topic.
For sure. Yeah.
So we have questions in the Q&A. Do we want to address those now or?
Yeah, I think some of them, yeah. And then we've reached out to lots of different groups that wanted to engage with us and that were willing to kind of talk about guardianship and come to our group and share their thoughts. And, and that's something that I think that the new work group would continue to do going through the next year as well. And so that's something I think we'll continue to keep doing.
This first question from Arthur Bumfield. We also at some of the town halls talked to people, family members and people who were dealing with the aspects of possibly having to take guardianship of someone or in a guardianship. So we did speak to some of those individuals face to face with and they expressed their concerns as well. And I think that if they would read that statement, it might change their mind about everything because it is just so harsh. And like Mike said, we are going to talk to Nickel.
Yeah, I
And
think we were, oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, they asked if we fully read the statement. I mean, we've read it several times. I've highlighted it, I've broken it apart. And then there's a statement on here from Jeremy Warner saying that guardianships are not in compliance with independent living philosophy. The thing you're saying there is, what if someone with a disability has a choice? He or she has a choice to make. That's the whole thing of independent living, is it's their choice. So to tell them that they can't is the same as everyone is telling them that they have to. So those are all the same questions down through here.
Yeah, and I think the work group will give us a chance to address some of these concerns by hearing from more people, talking to more people, getting public input, so that way it doesn't feel like we're kind of rushing into into a statement or a decision, just to have something done arbitrarily by the end of the first year of the spill.
Um,
And I
so
see your hands up.
who?
And Barnhart.
Okay.
You want to say something, Chris, first, or?
No, I'm done.
Okay. I think it's important, and it's a good thing that we're trying not to rush into this. We could just look at the nickel statement and sign on to it without question, but we don't want to do that. We want to get more people's opinions. We want to look at this deeper than the time we had. And I think that's actually a good thing.
Okay. With all this discussion, I feel like maybe can we vote again, Mike?
Yes, we could restart. And Linda Greeno is joined us as well. So she is
Okay.
on as a panelist too. So we should get her vote in this next round.
Okay.
And so, and just to be clear, Chris, I mean, I know we had a proposal from Julia, but just so everybody's clear, that the proposal again is to disband the current guardianship work group, reform a new work group, and the charge of that work group would be to develop a new statement around guardianship during the course of the next year. And that will be taking, part of that process is listening to more groups, getting public input. And that work group can consist of folks from the old group that want to join, and we'll also put out a call for new work group members as well as part of that process.
So do I have a motion?
Can I ask a question real quick before you make a motion? I am inexperienced in process, like the official process that we're doing. What are the choices when you vote? Yes, no,
You can abstain.
abstain.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
All right.
Sorry,
So
thank you.
does anyone have a motion?
And we already had a motion that we'll need to
Okay.
vote on that motion, Chris, and that motion was Julia put it out, and then Ann
Okay.
Barnhart seconded.
All right. So Luis Roman,
In favor.
okay. Ann Barnhart,
In favor.
Haley Brown,
In favor.
Linda Greeno.
Abstain. I missed too much. I'm sorry.
Okay. Julie Shear,
In favor.
Sierra Olivia Thomas Williams.
I'm going to abstain. I need to learn more.
Okay. And Anna Thompson Jones.
In favor.
And I'm in favor as well. Okay, then that's what we will do. We will start that new work group, get public
Yep.
input, and get more information. Next, we have a presentation from Sarah Olivia Thomas for the data analysis group. And she's going to share their recommendations to the council.
Okay, thank you. This is Sierra. So what we've been doing over the last couple of meetings is reviewing needs assessments that were completed from other states to kind of look at how they gather data and the kinds of things that they are curious and want to learn about, how they format their surveys and the kind of information that they collect. And we reviewed some publicly available data about people with disabilities in Indiana, including the VR community strengths needs assessment and the participant surveys. We looked at the needs assessment by Indiana Disability Justice, which is a sexual violence primary prevention program at Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence. That was a community needs and desires assessment. And then the Insilc data that was previously collected from roundtables and satisfaction surveys, resource capacity assessments, and some other data that has been collected. And we completed all but one of our deliverables, which is to actually compile that currently available public data into an informative document and to share that. In our meetings, several times, over the course of months, we discussed the desire and the need to hear from Hoosiers with disabilities, specifically and especially people who are underserved. Some of the groups, the communities that we talked about were veterans, BIPOC people, youth, and older adults. And we really would like to collect some qualitative data and information for the spill committee in order to inform the creation of the next state plan for independent living 27 to 32. And so our recommendations after reviewing these things is, rather than conducting a written consumer needs assessment survey, we're going to recommend that the spill committee disband the current work group after we've completed our last assignment by the end of January, and that we recommend that the spill committee convene a new work group in order to develop and implement focus groups with people with disabilities to gain detailed specific information in all geographic areas of the state.
Okay, that sounds okay. We need to take a vote on that recommendation. Sarah, you put it out there, so I need a second.
This is Anna. I second.
Okay, then we'll take another vote. This is the vote on the recommendation for the data analysis group to disband and regroup to do focus groups in the coming year. Luis Roman,
In favor.
Ann Barnhart,
In favor.
Haley Brown,
In favor.
Linda Greeno,
In favor.
Julie Shear,
In favor.
Sarah Olivia Thomas Williams. Oh, you
In
gave me
favor?
yours.
Yeah. Oh,
And then Anna seconded. Okay, well, that one passed very well. So that's what
And
we'll be
Chris, we need
doing.
your vote for official.
Yes, I'm in
Okay.
favor.
Okay.
All right, so That new group will be starting up in January as well. And then, excuse me, we have a couple of new work groups that are going to be starting in January. I'm going to let Mike talk about those two.
Yeah, happy to. So we'll have two additional work groups that are beginning work in 2026. These don't need official approval because they are already in the approved spill, but we will have an emergency preparedness committee. And the charge of that emergency preparedness committee is to put together information packet and resources to community leaders and policymakers in regards to including people with disabilities in their emergency preparedness practices. And Dave Schleppenbach is going to be our facilitator for that. He is our newest council member. He's got experience doing similar work in 3 different states. He's excited to get going. So he's going to be our facilitator for that. We also have a healthcare work group, which is another deliverable that's in the spill. And the charge of that work group is putting together a resource packet of information for doctors and physicians and other medical providers for how to best have accommodations and be accessible for people with disabilities. And the charge of that group is to put together that packet and get that out to, with a goal being over 1,000 providers across 80 counties in Indiana. So the committee will do their best to put together a distribution plan to make that work. We have Marcy Hinsman from ADA Indiana is going to be our facilitator for that. And then both of these work groups will be beginning in January of 2026. And so I will be sending out an email this week to all of the centers for independent living, letting them know about opportunities for these 2 work groups, and then the new work groups that were just approved by the Spill Committee, which is the new guardianship statement work group and the new focus group work group. And we'll let everybody know about that and give folks an opportunity to volunteer to serve on that. And we'll also give, for the existing work groups, we'll give folks who are on that work group a chance to continue if they would like. And then our goal from a timeline perspective would be to get figure out the roster of who's going to be on those work groups, and then to get a meeting calendar set up by the end of 2025. And then with all of those work groups, the goal being for them to start meeting in January of 2026. And then I would see each one of those work groups as having an opportunity to give the full spill committee an update on their progress at every public spill meeting. So we'll have a standing agenda item for all those work groups to do the updates. But that's kind of where we are, and that's kind of the next steps for those.
Thank you. And then our final new business is we have decided to start a writing group for the spill for 2030, the beginning of 2026. It may not be January. We need to see where we're at with individuals. We are going to ask for people to apply to be on the committee or to just send in their interest and let us know. We'll only take probably about six individuals on this one because it's so intense
Yep.
to get the work done. So we'll be sending that out as well. Maybe not at the same time as the other two work groups. We'll get those settled in, and then we'll send the information out about the spill writing group. But we want to get this started earlier. We don't want to be doing it in 2 months. We want to get more public input and those types of things. So we are starting it January, February of 26. And we will let everyone have those announcements. We'll put them on the Insilc site and wherever we need to get them, or send them out to the SILs, and we'll go from there. All right. So we have 15 minutes for public comment.
Yeah, and I can jump in and facilitate this, Chris. And
Okay.
just there was a question earlier about if the guardianship work group had heard from Peter Groves and his group, and we did reach out to them. We had some conversations with them about them doing a presentation. They did not want to present their findings to the committee or their opinions, but we're happy to reach out to them again and have that conversation again with the new work group. Now that we have another year to do that, we'll be looking to different groups to see if they would like to present to us and let us know their opinions, and happy to reach out to them again. With that, we'll open the work group up for, sorry, public comment. Public comment up for 15 minutes. If you'd like to make a comment, just raise your hand, and then you'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. And so I will start kind of at the top and kind of work my way down. If you have comments, again, please raise your hand. And the first hand up I see is Arthur Bumfeld is first. I'm going to allow you to talk. And Arthur, you should be able to speak now. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, hey there, y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my hand, so y'all can take somebody else.
That's okay. Just raise your hand again if you change your mind. And then Jackie Morales, I see your hand is up. So Jackie, I'm going to let you speak. So you should be able to speak now.
You able to hear me?
Yes, Jackie, you're coming through fine. You're a little quiet, but we can hear you.
Okay. I'm curious as to why we can't see everyone's faces and names and stuff. It's very confusing. Seeing the screen flip back and forth. And then just like I, it's not good. And not even your committee is showing right now.
Yeah, Jackie, that's good feedback. We're set up right now as a webinar through Zoom, and so we will look and see what options we have to do that. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance to access these meetings, and that we have a way to manage it in a way that's workable for folks. And if that's something people would like to see, we will look into that and to see what kind of options there are. I'm not sure what choices we'll have because we have some technical pieces that have to be in place, but we'll look into that and see what we can do for future meetings.
When it's still supposed to be getting input from people, why are they also answering with just things like thank you for their comment?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Jackie? I didn't quite get that.
So still is supposed to be getting input from the people. Why is it okay with this committee that the only answer that anybody is getting is thank you for their comment?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. That's something that we're trying to be better at as well. And so when we can respond to questions like you had the comment on the Zoom, we're going to do that here when we can. And for questions that we need to put together more of a complete response, that we will do that through a written process that we'll post on our website after the meeting. So it just kind of depends on our ability to answer it on the fly during these meetings.
And then when people are making comments, I want to know like why isn't it also like something in the minutes that are being taken and stuff, and not leaving words out and changing what people said? Like, how is that getting input for you guys?
Right. And so all what we're required to do for minutes and what when we look across other states at what they're doing, they're just listing kind of like the names and who made comments. But we are posting transcripts for these meetings and for our Insilc public meetings as well. And so those will be posted the same place as the minutes are. And so if somebody would like to see a transcript of the full comment, they have access to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie. And then I see Jason Glenn, your hand's up. So Jason, you should be able to speak now.
Thank you for taking my question. My question is, I actually have multiple questions. Per federal law, before you come up with a new state plan, you were required to receive feedback from individuals with disabilities to find out what we actually need. Why wasn't that done? In addition, if it was done, why isn't it on public record? Why wasn't, and why can't I find the information to find out what was in the report? What individuals did you talk to? Understand you can't name them, but what individuals did you talk to? And also, why hasn't your own committee seen the feedback? it would be very important to get feedback from people with disabilities, because if there's no room for us at the table, how is this plan ever going to work?
Yeah, thank you for your question. And we did a couple of public listening sessions for the last bill. So we did get some comment on that, but we recognize too that we need to do more and that we want to do more. And so kind of as Chris was saying in her report, part of what we're doing is putting together a work group to do the initial kind of planning for the next spill. And so part of that is that we have the next bill is to be submitted by June of 2027. So that gives us a little over 18 months to put that together. And we want to have a well-developed time frame to do that, so we can do just as you said, that we can have enough opportunities for the public to have input, and we can do more than we did the last time. That will include the 4 town halls that we're going to do in 2026. We are planning on going to the Jeffersonville, New Albany area, to the Columbus area here in Indianapolis. We'll do another virtual one at the end of the year. We'll have some other opportunities. We'll utilize our social media and our list and our newsletter and our website to do all of that. And so we do plan on having a much more robust public comment opportunity and period within the next spill, and that we should be able to get those timelines and processes up for the public to view on our website by early 2026. And that's kind of, as Chris was saying, is kind of the next step. Is there's going to be a few people that are going to get together and look at the timelines and the timeframes for doing that, so that we can do a better job of that public input for the next bill.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I see Jeremy, you have your hand up. And so Jeremy, you should be able to make your comment now.
Hi, this is Karen Willis, and I think you may have unmuted me instead by mistake. I did have my hand raised though.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Jeremy, if you had your hand up, I will come back to you. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I clicked on Karen by mistake.
That's
But
fine.
Karen-
Yeah, it just asked me to unmute. So
Okay. Since I asked Jeremy first, Karen, are you okay waiting until Jeremy goes?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
honestly, this is something that Karen brought up at the last public Insilc meeting, which was a proposal that every SIL host spill-focused community meetings to get statewide input from people with disabilities. I was going to ask if you were going to do that, because at the public meeting, you guys just said thank you for your comment and said you would post a response to her online. So that was why I was asking that. I also, though, wanted to comment regarding guardianships that they aren't in compliance with independent living philosophy because they take decision-making authority away from the individual. That's not something that should be open to the state silk to decide to change. That independent living philosophy has a specific value, and really, I have a major issue with the state silk thinking that it can vote and make a statement on our behalf as a state, changing what that philosophy is and allows for. State and federal funded independent living services should not be supporting guardianships. That doesn't mean that we take it away from others. It means we don't support it. That's all I have to say there. The option is still there if somebody wants a guardianship. It shouldn't be through state or federal funded independent living services. So that's all I had to say. I would say Karen should go, but I would like an answer as to whether or not you're going to rely on the SILs to actually engage the community in getting input for the spill.
Yeah, Jeremy, and I would say thank you for the feedback. And so on the two things, on the public comment for the spill, yeah, we will have opportunities again for that. And we will put together by early 2026 that timeline of when we're going to do that. I know the 4 town halls will be one opportunity that we'll have for sure as we go around the state. And then there'll be opportunities through our social media and other methods too. So we're going to have a work group that's going to figure that out. And that's kind of what I was saying. We want to start a lot earlier. And as Chris said too, we want to start a lot earlier than we did the last time so that we can give plenty of time to have that comment, so we can hear from as many people from, and as many people from diverse backgrounds as we can. And I appreciate your comment on the guardianship as well. And part of that, having that new work group that's putting together the statement, is they want to have opportunities to have their draft statement put in front of the public and to hear public feedback too. So there will be other opportunities to share feedback specifically around guardianship. So that way we can, again, make sure that we're incorporating the feedback that we can.
Mike, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Jeremy said that the SILs were going to be doing guardianships, and that is not the case at all.
No, I didn't say that. I said
Oh,
state
okay.
and federal independent living services should not support guardianships.
I'm
And that
sorry.
that is
That's
the
why.
philosophy, the independent living philosophy does not comply with guardianships or vice versa. That Indiana should not be making a different statement regarding what independent living is in Indiana. Independent living is independent living. That's advocacy, advocacy, advocacy with independent living support services for people with disabilities.
And
It is not supporting guardianships.
we are not necessarily supporting guardianship. We want to make it to where you see the alternatives first.
There are SILs in this state that include guardianships on their websites.
And that's okay. And I think I would just say, Chris, that, that's really appreciate, your and Jeremy's feedback on that. And we will have additional opportunities for that as the guardianship work group, continues to operate next year. So, happy to continue that conversation. I think that would be the best venue to do that. Yeah. And then Karen, you had your hand up next, and I think you're already, I'll unmute you again.
Yes.
Okay, Karen, go ahead. And then Jason, then we'll come back to you.
Okay, so in line with this, this is my original question / suggestion. The state plan is complicated and understandably so because it's covering a lot of issues, but I do feel that it is quite dense, and so it's hard for people who are newer to the independent living movement, or perhaps who have difficulties with reading and other challenges to fully make sense of the state plan. I mean, I have a master's degree, and sometimes I'm sitting there having to reread the same thing 3 or 4 times. So what I would suggest as part of developing the next plan is to also have each work group develop a plain language explainer or single page explainer for each section of the plan, saying this is why this is in the plan, this is what it means, this is why it's important, so that folks who are new to the movement or who have intellectual disabilities can have a better understanding of what the plan is and why it matters. So that's a suggestion that I have, and it seems like with this new plan development, that would be the perfect time to incorporate it.
Yeah, and Karen, this is Mike, and I think your opinion is exactly right on. And what we had in the current spill, one of the goals in that spill was to have a plain language spill, and that really kind of gets to your point. And what we found, we're still trying to work on that, but that's proving to be a pretty difficult process. But what we've kind of learned from that is, I think, exactly to your point, that we'd have a lot easier time having a readable spill if we developed that in conjunction with kind of like the full spill with all of its kind of required technical pieces. If we develop them simultaneously, it's going to, one, be better, and two, be easier to put that together. So that is that process is absolutely one of our notes for as we start writing the next spill, is to do that at the same time. So that way we come up with, again, the technical pieces that are required for the technical spill, but then also that much more readable, more user-friendly, piece that we can be a more public-facing document.
Okay, that's basically it for me, but I do want to say that also I do not think that the independent living movement should be promoting guardianship in any way, shape, or form. To be anybody who's capable of saying they don't want a guardian should never have one, and so that to me just goes against everything the movement stands for. So, I hope that we will come out against it in the plan.
Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that feedback. And we have time for a couple more comments. I had seen, Jason, I saw your hand up and now it's down. So I assume that you don't have a comment. If you have another comment, go ahead and raise your hand again and we'll make sure that you get in before the meeting. And actually, I see a couple hands that are down now. And so, oh, Beth has her hand up. I'm sorry, I missed Beth. And so we'll do Beth and then Renee, and then that's going to put us about the end of our 15-minute comment period. So we'll have Beth and then Renee. Beth, go ahead. You should be able to make your comment. Oh. Beth, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through just fine.
Yeah, this is my second meeting I've listened in on. I'm from Connersville, Indiana, and I'm just wondering, is it an independent living center close to me, closer to me than Indianapolis? And another question is, how does somebody like myself get on the board like you guys are?
Yeah, you're welcome, Beth. I'm going to ask you to repeat your first question, if you would. I missed that. I know your second question was how to get involved in the board, or presumably like a work group or something like that. We do open calls for board nominations when it's time to do that, usually around summer of each year. But if you would like to get involved or be on a work group, or if one of these issues, if you're passionate about them, feel free to send us an email. You can do that through our website. There's the info@indianasilk.org website. It's a great way to use us, to reach us. There's also a contact form on the website. You can message us on Facebook. My contact info and email is out there as well. Feel free to do that. So, however, we have a couple different ways you can get involved, and just send us an email, and we'll be glad to engage with you and figure out the best way to do that. And then, would you mind repeating the first part of your question again? I missed that part.
Yes, I live in Connersville
Mm-hmm.
in Fayette County, and I know that a couple of you have mentioned that you're in the Indianapolis area. And my question is there an independent living center closer to Connersville, Indiana, which is in Fayette County?
Good question. And so, is there an independent living center that covers Connersville? And Ann Barnhart, I see your hand is up. Do you have an answer to Beth's
Yes.
question?
The Independent Living Center of Eastern Indiana, it does cover Connersville. Our office is in Richmond, but we do have service coordinators that will come out to you if you cannot come to the office. I have their phone number. I don't know. Is there a way, Mike, you can get her the phone number, or we can put it in the chat? Or
Yes, we can do that. And then also, if you go to our website, Insilc, INSILC.org, there's a tab for centers, and you can find contact information and which counties all of the centers cover.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then we have Renee up next, and then Jason has said we come back to you since you had your hand up before, and then that'll be the end of our public comment period. Renee, you should be able to make your comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through fine.
Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to come out and make a stand against the guardianship. To just put that on record that, that should not be um a thing that we support. And when the young lady was talking about making a simpler version of the spiel, you might consider using someone from the public that has difficulty understanding and engaging or articulating what's in the original spill, like, you know, those that have speech difficulty or uh understanding, you know, is difficult for them. You might want to use somebody that actually has that problem to help you uh get that um going, that simpler spiel going, because they would actually know what is needed.
Yeah, Renee, thank you for your comment, and thank you for your comment on guardianship. And then I think your point about the plain language spill is great. If we can find someone, have somebody with that kind of firsthand lived experience that can help us write the plan in that language that's going to be accessible and usable by the most people, that would be helpful. So we will definitely look into that as we get ready to write the new spill.
Okay, maybe you put it on your website.
Yes, that's a good point. We will do that or put a social media post out there. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And then Jason, I see your hands up, and then your comment is going to be the last comment for the day. And you should be able to make your comment now.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mike, this summer I was able to attend a conference with Everybody Counts, and I had a great time. My question is, why was there a deadline put for applications for the council when there has never been one before? And also, why did it just happen to be 2 days before the beginning of the conference when Insilc knew that we were going to be trained that weekend, and a lot of us had interest in being on the governor's council with you guys? Can you explain that, please?
Sure. Yeah. And so we set kind of application periods are really set for us by the governor's office. They say we want to get your slate of nominees in, and the state of Indiana asked for us to have all of those in by a set date. It's in our contract. It's usually the end of September. Varies a little bit year to year, and so those are arbitrarily set by us, or set not by us, but by again by FSSA or the governor's office, and that's usually set a year or so in advance when our new contract comes out. And however, that may or may not overlap with other events. It's really out of our control, and so we just have to respond to the dates that are given us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then that would be the end of our public comment session. Thank you, everybody. And Chris, I think we just need to adjourn. And since it's a public meeting, we'll need a motion and a vote to adjourn.
Someone want to pass the motion to adjourn?
This is Linda. I can.
Okay, there's Linda. Second.
I'm Luis. I second it.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate
We
it.
need to vote,
Hey, whoa.
Chris.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, we have to
sorry.
vote for. Yeah, that's okay. We have to vote just for so that way we're official.
I'm sorry. I've been going 100 miles an hour today.
That's all right.
Okay. So Luis seconded.
Correct.
Ann Barnhart,
Agree.
Haley Brown,
Agree.
Linda, was she
She
first
made the
motion?
motion. So
Yeah,
yeah.
agree.
Okay,
Motion's
Julie
already made.
Shear,
Yeah,
Sierra Olivia Thomas Williams,
Yes.
Anna Thompson Jones,
Yes.
and myself. Yes. So we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All right. And our next meeting is February the 16th, 2:00. That's a Monday again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your comments.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Mike, I'm sorry that I I said I was gonna be
Wait a
not
second.
able to come, and then
Recording stopped.
but the group that said they couldn't cancel for me canceled on me.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad, Ann. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let everybody go though. But
Okay.
sorry about that, Ann. Thanks for letting me know. Thank you, everybody.